Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Chris, your sneaker professor, back with another article that you probably missed that's on the website. Make sure you go to the website. Doing this nice little ad for Shop 99. I'm going to do an unboxing soon, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But it's for the Carver, and that's it. Let's move on to the content that you probably missed if you didn't go to the website and read the articles that I'm writing. And there's some really good content on the website, food reviews, movie reviews, all of that good stuff. The article for today, though, 5 reasons Nike is always a few changes away from correcting major issues. Now, the reason I wrote this is because on the 21st, Nike will do their quarterly report, and the headwinds that they're facing are considerable. So let's get to it. The first reason, and these are not in order of importance, they can be changed around, but I kind of laid it out in a way where it would be seamless and make sense. 1, the demand for Nike never stops. Right now, on Amazon, a Seller Central account can open a selection recommendation for shoes currently in demand. Now, there's 141 suggestions on that recommendation. The first 15 results, Nike is 1 through 13. I'm going to show this in a second. At 14 is New Balance, and at 15 is Brooks Running. Now, after you get past that, Nike continues to populate that entire list until you get to the end where there's a lot of different random products that show up. But these aren't sneakerheads or cool kids that are shopping on Amazon. These are the everyday consumers. And right now, Nike is more in demand than any other brand on the biggest e-commerce platform in the world. Now, this is really interesting. And well, let me keep reading here. When you consider that Nike abandoned their pilot program on Amazon, Nike could take the easy path and use Amazon for distribution. Instead, they focus on direct to consumer. But if they were smart, they wouldn't focus on direct to consumer either. They would move those options into family retail channels that they shut down. Did you catch that? The accounts that Nike took away, Nike should reopen those accounts. That's what I'm saying there. So the compelling aspect of the 141 sneakers on the recommendation list on Amazon is the average winning price. Now you'll see as I scroll down here, this picture, it has to be made bigger so you can see it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to open image in a new tab, or I'm just going to drop it into the video right here. The average winning price. And contrary to what StockX, eBay, these other third-party data platforms, what they're stating, and against all the sale tags that you see in different retail stores, every pair on the Amazon list is selling at SRP or higher, with the number of units a seller could move over the next few months at 130 items per size. That's really considerable. So if you look at this picture to the side down here, or since I probably popped it up in the video, each row is based on an individual size, not the full size run. So that means when you look over here to the side and you see the Air Max Torch, which is the #1 recommended shoe, not a sneakerhead shoe, the Air Max Torch retails, I think, for $90, maybe $85. It's selling for $104.57 on Amazon, and you can sell 340 to 580 units of this one size. 340 to 580. You can actually find a Torch at a Nike factory store for $49.99. Why does Nike leave that money on the table? It just seems kind of strange that they would, especially if people on Amazon are willing to pay $104 a pair for them. Intriguing stuff. Let's keep going because I'm staying on this one too long. But you see this big long picture and you're like, wow, that is crazy. I'm sure if you're not saying that, then you should be, because when you come down and you look at the Dunk that's over there at $171, the offer winning price, Nike ain't in the trouble that you think they're in. They're only in trouble in the world that you are probably in, which is possibly the sneakerhead world. Let's keep going. Number 2, media. amazing store concepts, and I'm counting wrong, and their employees at the retail level. Those employees at the retail level offset poor decisions from the C-suite. If somebody said, Chris, what do you like about what Nike is doing right now? I would not have a whole lot to say. But when you ask me about their store concepts, Nike store concepts, and the employees at those stores, the employees at Nike stores are awesome. Awesome. But let's get to the paragraph here. So the recent Nike Ginza Rise store in Japan, and that's the picture that you saw at the lead. This is a new store for Nike, right? It's evidence of a shifting Nike philosophy at retail. The digitally informed inventory at the Ginza Rise store and the events hosted are built around community, in particular, the running community. The international running market, Nike seems to be attacking with greater fervor than they are the US market. Why? That's a different video. Now, getting back to those Nike employees, they are loyal advocates of the brand who understand the product and love to discuss the brand with the visitors to their doors. This means that the confusing hires that are made for the C-suite up at the top and the decisions made by executives is always being masked by the enthusiasm and ability for every Nike store to pick up sales, even at the worst moments for the brand. The retail doors mask the problems with the things happening in the C-suite. And that should be of great interest to you. If you're taking notes, take notes because that's important. Nike doors, Nike retail doors are unique. And when you consider the overlooked addition of Nike Fitness and Nike Strength, Netflix, and the Nike gyms, they have 2 gyms now open in California, 2 gyms. Nike moving into a wider spectrum of sport beyond clothing, I see, and this is a key point, I see Nike as preparing for a future where the sale of footwear and the waste associated with overproduction will have to slow down. Nike makes too many shoes. They're a bad company. And eventually, people watching the industry, gate watchers, people watching companies who are greenwashing, people are going to begin to talk about the amount of sneakers Nike is producing. I've long stated that media and additional ventures outside of clothing and apparel are where sports brands can make up the difference in revenue. And to me, it appears Nike is the only brand thinking way ahead and down the road. Nike isn't just showing you product. They are showing you how to be better in the product. They're showing you how to be better in the product. When I start adding in things like the PK80, the different tournaments that Nike's sponsoring, you get into a completely different realm of discussion for media as it relates to Nike that other brands don't have. Adidas does. Adidas does. Ask me in the comments and I'll explain that. Adidas does. Adidas is doing some smart things with media as well. 3, even when the brand appears to be stumbling with product that's sitting on shelves, no brand really challenges the cool factor long term. No brand. Nike product on shelves means more Nike product selling at a lower price. It doesn't mean that other brands are going to take those sales. Nike on sale will hurt margins, but that inventory is going to be cleared out. And this will eventually turn into fuller price sell-through in less than a year is what I'm predicting. Think about it like this. A Jordan Retro, a Nike Dunk, a Nike Air Force One will still be cooler than the most popular sneaker from your favorite brand. And other brands seem to be lost in how to create something to compete. The worst Nike sneaker is still cooler than the best sneaker from any other brand. And cool drives the market. As much as I love performance and the importance of elite athletes doing amazing things, when kids walk into a sneaker store, they go directly to the Nike wall. It's not based on performance. is based on how they will be perceived by their peers. Nike hasn't been focused on performance for years. When they begin to focus on the stories around the accomplishments of athletes and drive home those stories, they will begin to nab those people wearing the shoes just for sport again. Now, every other brand, even with the hype of Fear God for Adidas or J-Tips for Saucony or Joe Fresh Goods and ALD for New Balance, every other brand, doesn't matter. They are still secondary and only considered when prices are better. A simple Google Trends search for each of the brands shows how much bandwidth Nike absorbs. So you see this picture, right? And you look at how high and how much people search for Nike versus who they search for. The second company is Adidas. The third is New Balance. And then it's Hoka and Under Armour. And I could probably go back through and redo this list for brands that you like. You can leave a comment and tell me to do that, and I'll do it and make another video. But all of these other brands, they focus on a limited collab. And while those limited collabs generate social media likes and coverage, it does very little to move the needle when people are looking for sneakers overall. Think about what I said up here at the top, and when you have New Balance and Brooks at the very bottom of this list, and the fact that anything that you could sell right now that you can turn a buck on, more than likely it's going to be a Nike product. Sneaker brands have to operate within their own windows. In other words, they can't hope that people will turn away from the swoosh and the Jumpman. But I have to ask this. Does a collab build fans of the brand? Do those consumers become buyers of regular general release products? Nike doesn't have to worry about collabs. And they don't have to worry about their collabs winning. Because at the end of the day, when you have an annual drop like the Jordan 11, the brand is only one decision away from generating $175 million on one SKU. One SKU. And that SKU, number 4, the Air Jordan 11 annual drop. One sneaker can turn the tide for the swoosh and Jumpman. In 2021, the Air Jordan 11 Jubilee made over $175 million, hence that number that I just shared. Nike has at its disposal the ability to satiate the entirety of a community that purchased more than 1 to 2 sneakers a year. Catch that. Read it again. Nike has at its disposal the ability to satiate the entirety of a community that purchased more than 1 to 2 sneakers a year. Why is this important? While On Running, Hoka, and Brooks are rising quickly and selling more running sneakers than they've ever sold, the consumers who buy those products buy 1 or 2 sneakers a year. When we look at Nike, these are a few sneakers in Nike's archives which could be delivered, and they would perform in a manner similar to that of the Air Jordan 11. Nike could retro the Air Yeezy 1 and 2, renamed of course, and it would sell like wildfire. They could do another remastered version of the black or white cement Jordan 3 with Nike Air at the heel. They could do the Air Max 90 Infrared OG version again. They could do the Air Jordan 11 Concord or Bread, the Air Jordan 4 Bread, a truly premium all-white Air Force One, the Air Max 270 Light Bone and Hot Punch, which is not a retro, it's just a few years old. If they re-released that shoe, it would sell like crazy. The GT Cut One would sell like crazy. The Kobe 9 Elite NOLA would sell like crazy. The Nike Kobe 4 MVP would sell like, that's just a start. These shoes, That's just a start. And that list, it features recent releases and, of course, retros. When you think about the fact that Nike hasn't really played around with Jordan 16 through 23, in apparel, let's just look at apparel for a second. Consider the Nike Tech Fleece suit and how Nike's product placement in shows like Top Boy could disrupt the terrorist movement Adidas is currently benefiting from. Nike does a poor job of marketing their apparel. They also overprice the apparel. All right, imagine this. If I wrote in this post or I tweeted out that Nike was flooding the Nike clearance store outlets with Nocta, Travis Scott, all these different collabs that they've had, if I said that they were, if I tweeted it out, it could be completely false. If I tweeted out that they were flooding the clearance stores with that gear, every brand in the country would have to drop their prices to even get consumers to look their way. Which leads me to the real reason Nike can course correct. The real reason Nike can course correct. 5, a marketing correction eliminates the competition. Nike owns the MLB, NBA, NFL, USA Track and Field. 2024 is an Olympic year. Sport will dominate the media, and fans of athletes will move from couch to 5K. Parents will sign their children up for lesser-known sports from gymnastics to track, and next year breakdancing will be included in the Olympics. Ad spend is going to break every brand except Nike. Nike's marketing budget is the size of the biggest sneaker companies in the world outside of Adidas. But here's the interesting statistic. During John Donahoe's tenure, which started in 2019, Nike's ad spend hasn't grown in sync with the revenue. In the past, it always was that way. Nike has always been considered an advertising company that sells sneakers. Nike's revenue growth happened due to the consumer direct offense in Nike Direct over the last few years, and it's been considerable. All right. Here's the chart that shows you how much money's been generated. 2019, they were at $39 billion a year. They're now at $51 billion a year. But here's what's interesting. There hasn't been any memorable Nike marketing during Donahoe's tenure because the brand appears to be focused heavily on sneakers and Nike Direct. Now, these two charts that you see came from Statista, and they show you the advertising spend. So you're talking 3 billion, 3 billion, 3 billion, 3.58, 3.75. 2019 is when Donahoe came in. The following year was COVID. Ad spend decreased to 3.59, and then it dropped to 3.11 in 2021. It went up to 3.85, but when you juxtapose it with the income, here are the facts. You take the time to do a breakdown in percentages, and there's a clear image painted of Nike's decline in creating the amazing ads that gave the brand the ability to create stories around their products. In 2019, Nike's advertising was 9.6% of the revenue, 9.6% of the revenue. In 2023, Nike decreased the budget to 7.9%. It's important to note that almost every year of growth for Nike was supported by a consistent 9 to 10% of revenue being utilized to advertise. During Donahoe's tenure, Air.Jordan.com was removed, erased, completely gone, absorbed into the Jordan side of the website. Prior to Donahoe's tenure, Nike controlled the narrative around their product. There were ad spots featuring Questlove and Kyrie with the drumming on Christmas Day. Black History Month collections were better. Nike basketball had lost some relevance, but the most memorable moments for Nike as a brand since Jordan jumping through the air were the MVP puppets. Kobe jumping over in Aston Martin, the Galaxy Pack, Nike's insistence on direct growth left holes in the advertising of sneakers, and smaller brands utilized a combination of in-house campaigns and marketing to reach an all but forgotten running market. If it weren't for Sha'Carri Richardson, sprinting would be owned by Adidas and New Balance, and distance would be owned by On Running and Hoka. Nike is a running company. That's what they were built as. That's what they've always been known as. And with Hayward Field as their home base, Nike and running are synonymous. But here we have a situation where they are no longer the leaders in running. They are financially, just right now. These other brands are filling the big spaces that Nike has left. When Nike was able to focus on marketing as opposed to distribution, that means that when they were doing more wholesale and had these accounts, and they were able to focus on marketing and branding, they were stronger and more agile. On December 21st, Nike reports earnings. This is what you should expect. Reduced margins, but don't be surprised by less inventory. Don't be surprised. Nike sneakers are still selling, even in this difficult retail environment. Expect Nike to highlight this quarter, expect them to highlight brand partners more than they have in the last 4 years. Right now, Nike must lean heavily on its brandors, their own stores, to clean up the business. But until they stop attempting to be a consumer direct acceleration DTC brand, until they stop trying to be that, and they become what they've always been, which is a great wholesale partner and an amazing advertising company, Nike will continue to follow their fans instead of leading them. Nike will continue to follow instead of leading. Hope you guys appreciate this one. Any questions you have, leave them in the comment section. The link to this article is in the description. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I appreciate you for listening. See you on the next one. Peace.